Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how I made this crochet top. I chose this multicolor lace yarn and I'm going to use a 2mm hook. This is the stitch we're going to use for today's project. It requires you to chain a multiple of 8 plus 2. This is my swatch and it measures 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. And it is 26 stitches by 16 rows. We're going to start with the front of our project and I want it to be 45 centimeters. So I'm going to chain 122 stitches. That is 15 times 8 plus 2. We're going to start by making a slip knot. And then we are going to chain our multiple of 8 plus 2. That in my case is 122 stitches. After chaining all of our stitches, we can now start with row 1. Skip the first chain and in the second chain from the hook make a single crochet. Chain 1, skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and in the fourth one we're gonna make a shell stitch. Our shell stitch consists of 4 double crochet is separated by a chain. So we're gonna make a double crochet in the fourth chain, chain 1, and in the same stitch make another double crochet, chain 1, third double crochet, chain 1, and the last double crochet in the same stitch. This is our first shell stitch. Now chain 1, I'm gonna skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and in the fourth one we're gonna make a single crochet. Chain 1, skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and in the fourth one make another shell stitch, double crochet, chain, repeat, double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain, and fourth double crochet. The second shell stitch. I'll skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one after chaining 1. In the fourth one, make a single crochet. Chain 1 and repeat. Continue repeating these stitches for all the chains until you reach the end of the row. We are now at the end of the row, making my last shell stitch. I'm gonna chain 1, skip 3 stitches and make a single crochet. in the last chain. For row 2, we're gonna turn around and chain 3, 1, 2, 3. In the first single crochet, we're gonna make a double crochet, now chain 2, and on top of the shell stitch here between our 4 double crochet of a shell stitch, we're gonna, in the middle here in this chain space, we're gonna make 1 single crochet, 1 chain, and another single crochet on top of the shell stitch. Chain 2, and in the single crochet here of the row below, we're gonna make a V stitch. So we're gonna make 1 double crochet, chain 1, and another double crochet, chain 2, and we're gonna repeat this part, chain 2, and on top of the shell stitch in the middle chain space, 1 single crochet, 1 chain, and 1 single crochet again. Chain 2, V stitch in the single crochet, chain 2, and basically a V stitch single crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 chain, and 1 single crochet. Repeat that till the end of the row. We are now at the end of row 2, and we're gonna make 2 last double crochet in the last single crochet of the row. 1, 2, and our second row is done. For row 3, we're gonna chain 3, and in the first stitch we're gonna make 1 double crochet, we're gonna chain 1 and make another double crochet in the first stitch. This is basically half a shell stitch. We're going to chain 1, and in this single crochet V stitch we did in the previous row, we're going to make a single crochet in between, in here in the chain space. Single crochet, we're gonna chain 1, and in the double crochet V stitch here in the chain space we're gonna make our shell stitch. So a double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain, double crochet, chain, and the fourth double crochet or shell stitch inside the chain space of the double crochet V-stitch. Now chain one and make a single crochet here in the chain space between the single crochet. Chain one and another shell stitch here. Gonna continue repeating this in till the end of the row. At the end of row 3, gonna make last single crochet here, chain 2, and then in the third chain of the row below I'm gonna finish my row with half a shell stitch. So one double crochet, one chain, one double crochet, and one last double crochet. Now for row 4 we're gonna chain 1, turn around, and in the first stitch we're gonna make 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, gonna chain 2, and in the single crochet of the row below we're gonna make a V-stitch, 1 double crochet, 1 chain, and 1 double crochet. Chain 2, and in the middle of the shell stitch we're gonna make our single crochet, 1 chain, and 1 single crochet. It's basically like row 2, only in a different position. Chain 2, V-stitch in the single crochet, chain 2, and on top of the shell stitch, single crochet, chain, single crochet in the chain space. And we're gonna do this till the end of the row. We are at the end of row 4. We're gonna end with a 2 single crochet in the third chain of the row below. We completed row 4. Now we're gonna start row 5, turn around and chain 1. Row 5 is basically the same as row 1. So we're gonna make a single crochet in the first stitch, chain 1, and then make our shell stitch, only this time inside the V-stitch, double crochet V-stitch instead of the chain. And after this row we're going to repeat row 2, then row 3, row 4, and row 5, so on until we reach our desired length for the armholes. I'm back after crocheting 48 rows of our stitch pattern. That's almost 30 centimeters. At this point I want to shape the armholes here on the side. To decrease for our armholes, we need to stop after crocheting a row of V-stitches. We're gonna finish our row, then turn around, and basically we're gonna skip these stitches and start again our row with a single crochet here in the single crochet V-stitch. We're gonna skip these stitches by making slip stitches in the back loop only. So insert your hook in the back loop of your stitch and make slip stitches all the way until you reach the single crochet V-stitch that you choose. In my case is the second one. You can choose another one if you want to make your armhole bigger or smaller. I've reached the single crochet V-stitch here, and now I'm just gonna chain one and follow the pattern. So here I'm gonna make a single crochet in the chain space of the single crochet V-stitch, then chain one and make a shell stitch in the double crochet V-stitch, and the rest of the row is gonna be the same as a normal shell stitch row. Basically we skip all these stitches and we start it again here. And we're gonna continue with our shell stitch all the way to the other side to the corresponding single crochet V-stitch. That's this one. So I'm gonna stop there. I've reached the other side of our work, and we're gonna skip the same amount of stitches we did on this side by simply making our last stitch in a single crochet V-stitch, single crochet here, and we're gonna turn around, and we are not going to work these stitches. Now I want to make another decrease and start my row on top of the shell stitch, but if I were to use slip stitches to reach this part, slip stitches will be visible on the front of my work because I'm using a multicolor yarn, and unfortunately the slip stitches are visible, so this is going to become the wrong side of my work. So what I'm gonna do here to decrease, I'm just going to chain 3, and this chain are going to lay flat on top of the shell stitch here, and I'm going to continue it with the stitch pattern by making a single crochet V-stitch on top of the shell stitch. So now this is more rounded. I'm gonna continue all the way to here, the last shell stitch here, And here we're just gonna do our single crochet V-stitch on top of the shell stitch, and we're not going to go here. We're gonna skip here just by not doing it, and turn around and then continue back and forth. I'm gonna finish with the single crochet V-stitch in the shell stitch instead of the single crochet here, so to match the stitches we skipped on the other side. Then we're gonna turn around and continue with our stitch pattern. Okay, I'm back. I worked 6 centimeters after decreasing for the armhole, and now we're gonna shape the neckline. We stop after a V-stitch row, and we're gonna place 2 stitch markers on each side in the V-stitch, the single crochet V-stitch. Here is the 4th one from the end of the row, and on this side it's the 4th one from this end of the row, so they are placed in the center. They are symmetrical. So now we're gonna work the shell stitch row until we reach our stitch mark. I've reached the stitch marker. I'm gonna remove it, and here I'm gonna make the single crochet where the stitch mark was. Now we need to skip all these stitches. We could just turn around and work our strap back and forth, or we can make slip stitches and work till here and then make this one. I'm gonna make slip stitches all the way until I reach the 2nd stitch marker. Slip stitches all the way across until I reach the 2nd stitch marker. Now we're gonna remove it, and we're gonna continue with the shell stitch. So where the stitch marker was, I'm gonna make a single crochet and chain and make the shell stitch in the V-stitches. Continue till the end of the row, and then we're gonna turn back. I'm on the back. I've reached the last shell stitch here, and we're gonna end our row now here in the middle with 2 single crochet. Then we're gonna turn around, and instead of making a single crochet here, I'm just going to chain 2 and then continue with making shell stitches in the double crochet V-stitch. Then the rest of the row is the same. can see we are decreasing here on this side. Now we're gonna turn around, and in this V-stitch round row, we're gonna do one last decrease by stopping here on top of this shell stitch. Make 2 single crochet here, and now we have decreased enough, and I'm gonna continue just back and forth with our stitch pattern until we reach the top of our shoulder. This is gonna be the strap. Back on the front, and now we're gonna continue with our stitch pattern. And after we finish this strap, we're gonna attach a new piece of yarn and do the same thing on this side. I finished the first strap. Now we can make the second one. On the front of my work, I'm gonna attach the new yarn here with a slip knot, and following the pattern, we are on a V-stitch row. We're gonna chain 3 and a double crochet, and then continue with the stitch pattern. This we're gonna follow the same thing we did here. We're gonna stop on top of this shell stitch, making 2 single crochet, then chaining 2 and going back with the shell stitch round, and again with the V-stitch round, stopping on top of the new shell stitch. And then after that, go straight for all the length of our strap. I finished the second strap, and now our front is finished. We can start on the back. For the back of our top, we're gonna chain the same number, and the first part is exactly the same as the front. Here I've reached the armhole, the armpit. I'm gonna shape them like we did on the front, and after that, instead of decreasing here for the neckline, I'm going to keep going and make the neckline much higher, right, almost at the end of the top. I'm almost done with the back of my work. As you can see, I crocheted much more than the front. At this point, I want to shape here the neckline of my back. You could just keep crocheting all the way to the end and make it straight, but I want it to be rounded like this. So to do that, I'm gonna shape the same as the front. The only thing is that the row needs to match the V-stitch row that we stop at here needs to match the one here. So this is the one that starts with the 2 single crochets, so that here this one matches this one. If we stopped the other row, V-stitch row, here we would have a double crochet V-stitch, and that wouldn't match. Okay, now I'm going to decrease for the neckline of my back. So there's the row matches, and I put stitch markers here to make it easy to see where to stop. So we're gonna make the next row following the pattern with our shell stitches. Then I'm gonna do the same thing I did on the front. I've finished the back, as you can see. Yeah, this is how it looks from the front. And now we can join the front and the back together. First, we're gonna join the shoulder and then the sides. Now, to join your two pieces together, you need to position them with the right side facing up and the wrong side touching each other. I tried it in my needle and now I can sew it together. In the panel that's closer to you, insert your needle in the center of the first stitch here from the top down, then in the second stitch from the bottom up, like this. Move to the piece of work that's farther from you, insert needle in the center of the first stitch from the top down, and exit the second one from the bottom up. Now go back to the first panel. Here insert your hook from the top down in the stitch that you previously exit, this one here, from the top down, and in the next stitch here from the bottom up. And again you move, after this you move to the other panel and enter the stitch, this one that you previously entered, from the top down, and the next one from the bottom up. And then after a while you tighten your yarn like this, and keep going for all the stitches. Keep going until you sew together all the stitches of the shoulder. I joined both the shoulder. Now I'm gonna join the sides using the same method. I finished joining the sides. Now we need just some finishing touches. Here I'm gonna add a row of single crochet all around the neckline and the armholes. I've finished the round of single crochet all around the neckline and the armhole, and as usual the last step is to weave in all the tails.